I don't have access to that feature. Strange. All right, so I'm in my house. What is this curtain? Can we move it a little? Yeah, let's move that curtain a little. We can keep that one, but let's open that one because I don't want it in the way. Okay. Hey, there's two people here, I know. Look at my cute journal. It's called Stay Groovy. This is the journal that I have been writing in all my notes in. All my notes in. So, even though there's no one here, I'm going to talk like there's 100 million people watching. So, first things first, if you haven't heard of The Artist's Way, it is a book written by Julia Cameron, and it is essentially a book to help artists get more creative, tap back into their creativity, etc., etc. I heard about it when I found out that Doechii did it, and I wanted to buy it, but I live in Mexico, and Amazon doesn't work unless you have a residency number, which I do not have. So I unfortunately have not been able to buy it. But luckily for me, I use TikTok pretty much every day. So I went on TikTok and I started a self-love journey. And that was in March maybe or something like that, March or April. I don't exactly remember when I started it. But I started my self-love journey in a little earlier this year. And then I would literally document it every single day. Like I was like writing things in my journal that I love. Like for example, I'll read it to you guys. Let me go find myself. Oh, I do. Wait. Um, wasn't it in May? I don't know. Wow, I read a lot in this journal. No, I think it was earlier than that. Yeah, it was literally earlier than that. Oh, okay. Well, the date's not there, but I bought this journal and I started writing in it right away without the date, which is kind of strange. But yeah, this was about my dad. I was working through some of my childhood traumas from my father. So I wrote, I love myself even though you rejected me. I love myself even though you wedged a massive barrier between me and my siblings, and I, permanently impacting our relationship dynamic forever. I love myself even though you often criticize my appearance as a child, made fun of my nails, clothes, makeup, TV shows, and music taste, whatever. So basically, that was the beginning of it because I was like, yo, I'm so tired of outsourcing my self-love. And I started just like, I knew I wasn't going to get that many views on it, and I didn't really care about getting the views. It was more about the fact that I was documenting it for my own accountability. And it's crazy that you do these types of things and they end up taking you down a completely different path, because after I started talking about religion a little bit more heavily on my TikTok, this girl reached out to me. Her name is Raneem, and she is a Palestinian Egyptian living in California. And she DM'd me and she goes, oh my God, your self-love journey inspired me to start my own self-love journey. So she literally watched my videos and was like, I'm going to do this. So she started documenting her self-love journey. And as a result of that, she was able to get back into like painting and being more creative. And I'm very supportive of women because I like to see women do things. I don't like women to be docile. I don't like women to like do nothing with their lives and just like look for a man and only care about a man and a man this and a man that. So I supported her right away. I was like, let's be friends, follow me, whatever. This girl messaged me on WhatsApp and she sends me a PDF to The Artist's Way. And she's like, hey, we should do this together. Immediately, I was like, hell yeah, let's do it together. So we started reading it together, like separately, but together. You know what I mean? Like on the same days, we would do our morning pages and we would do whatever. So essentially, the first task in week 1 is to start doing this thing called morning pages. And that's just where, like, you know how when you're doom scrolling in the morning, it's like doom scrolling, but writing it down and everything that's in your brain gets put on paper. So you write 3 pages of brain rot, basically. It's not necessarily like journaling. It's literally brain rot. I call it brain rot because I literally wrote random things in my morning pages for the first like 3 days. And I realized it's actually pretty easy to stay consistent. By the way, I can't see who the people in this live are. I don't know why. So say hi in the chat if you're here. I'm speaking like there's 1,000 million billion people watching me. So it doesn't actually matter how many people are here. I'm going to keep talking. Anyways, so I started doing these morning pages and I found them to be really helpful because if I open my phone first thing in the morning and I see a comment that pisses me off on my post, my whole day is ruined. My entire day is ruined. I get so angry. I become obsessed with that comment. So what the morning pages helped me do is it helped me get all the BS that's in my head out and put on paper. And what I realized by doing that is two things. Number one, it's easy to build a daily habit. Like a lot of people skip daily habits because they just think it's not, like they miss one day and then they're like, oh, screw it, whatever, it's done, it's over, I suck. But the thing about the morning pages and having an accountability partner is that we checked in with each other every single day. So she would be like, morning pages done. And I'd be like, morning pages done. And we'd talk a little bit about it. And the second thing that I realized about the morning pages is that those little habits actually make the biggest difference, because once all that BS in my brain is out and put on paper, I can actually focus on having real thoughts, like proper real thoughts I want to have, thoughts that align with me and the things I want to do. So that was the first part of the Artist Way, which I really enjoyed. The second part of it was the artist talking about how important it is to think about the people who told you that you're never going to be an artist. And for me, that was my dad. And I don't know if you guys saw, but I just made a recent YouTube short talking a little bit about how my dad used to be an artist, and he wasn't able to actualize his dreams because he had to move to Canada, and then he got married, and he had a bunch of kids, and he had to like provide for them or whatever. So when I got accepted to art school, he was like, don't go be an artist, don't go get an art degree, it's useless, you're not gonna make money, da da da. And he like projected his own abandonment of his art onto me. And that impacted me so much more than I thought it would, because I literally stopped painting after that. I stopped painting for a long time, like maybe 6 years or something like that. And then in this book, it was like talking about how important it is to write about the times in your life where people told you that you're not a real artist or that you're never going to be a real artist. I'm so hot, but it's okay. I have my fan on, but I just don't want to blast it because it's super loud, and I'm going to keep this on my YouTube. So I don't want there to be a bunch of random background noise. But yeah. Anyways, so I wrote about that. And when I was writing about it, I realized this is very healing because it allows you to realize like, oh, all those negative things that people said is now on a piece of paper and it's irrelevant. You know, like when you put it on ink, it's like, oh, that's all it is, words. And I don't have to accept those words as my truth if I don't want to. So that is essentially what I found was healing in week 1. And I'm going to write a little bit more. I'm going to read a little bit more. Oh yeah. And then she was talking about how you need to write out certain things that people say to you and what they actually mean. So for example, if people call you crazy, what does that actually mean to you? If people call me crazy, that tells me I'm doing something right. If people say I'm doing too much, that tells me I'm passionate. If people tell me I'm confused, that tells me that I'm speaking my truth. If people tell me that I'm delusional, that tells me that I'm having faith in myself. If people tell me that I'm being too loud, that means I have confidence. If people tell me that I'm wrong, that means that I'm breaking barriers. If people call me a loser, that means I'm not conforming. If people call me insane, that means I'm an independent thinker. If people say I'm lazy or a procrastinator, that means I'm living in the present moment. If people say I'm broke, that means I'm focused on enjoying what I have. If people call me a wannabe or say that I'm seeking attention, that tells me that I'm brave. If people call me a liar, that tells me that I'm a truth teller. If people call me greedy, that tells me that I'm not staying satisfied with a little. If people say I'm dumb, that means I'm too intelligent. If people say I need to work, that means I'm being disciplined. Okay. And the reason why this is important for me to write down is because, again, if I open my phone and I see someone comment something first thing in the morning and it's negative, I spiral. Because as much as I want to say, oh, this doesn't actually affect me, it does affect me. And if I don't write down on paper why these people are projecting these things onto me and what they actually mean, then I get caught up in that spiral and I actually won't be productive that day. So I wrote this as like a reference point to come back to every single time I get called one of those words, whether it's by my family, random strangers on the internet, or even if I'm the one telling myself these things. Like if I'm like, girl, you're crazy, I got to check myself and be like, wait, I'm right, because I'm doing something different. I'm doing something, I'm living my truth. So I'm right about something. So it's only crazy to people who are not doing anything different than what they're being told to do, right? Okay. So I'm going to read you my 3 pages. Even though she says in the book, do not read your pages, just write them down, close the book, move on with your day. She says, don't tell anybody what's in the book or whatever. But these 3 pages were actually pretty good, so I'm going to read them. Okay. Week one of the Artist's Way is done. Today, I'm going to make a YouTube video about my progress so far as a live and, so that I can answer questions as they come up and engage with my audience. This means I won't have to edit the videos later. They can just stay on my YouTube. I prefer to be as visible as possible, so I'm going to be dedicated to showing up. I'm going to talk about the things that held me back in the past and what I'm excited for now. I'm going to welcome in the flow of money through opening my throat chakra and avoid falling into fear by keeping my heart open. No one can send me harm or affect me mentally unless I vibrate at that frequency. And as long as I practice my daily spirituality practices and stick to my routines and continue doing my morning pages, I will continue attracting my desires. Okay, it's kind of long, so I'm probably not going to read the whole thing. But anyways, the last thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that last week, 2 very famous people followed me on Instagram. I'm not going to say who they are, but I've had celebrities follow me on Instagram before and follow me on Twitter too when I used to use Twitter a lot. And I was like, and I used to freak out a lot about it. I used to be like, oh my God, they know who I am, whatever. And now I realize like, oh, duh, the celebrities are going to follow me because I'm a celebrity too. They want to see what I'm up to. So I had to normalize that for myself. I had to be like, girl, if you want to be a celebrity, then you're going to have to get used to, okay, this camera's really tripping me out. Then you're going to have to get used to celebrities following you on Instagram. So I normalized that for myself, which was a huge milestone. And the second thing that happened that made me realize, okay, like I'm actually stepping into my celebrity energy was yesterday. I put on this dress. Oh yeah, and in The Artist's Way, she talks about how important it is to take yourself on a weekly date. So last Monday's my artist date. My artist date day. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, Mondays is when I take myself out. So I used to walk by this clothing store every single day for like 3 weeks, and I saw this red dress and I was like, I want that dress so bad. But I didn't really know where I was gonna wear it. You know, it's a cute red dress, but I was like, I don't need a red dress right now. Whatever, it's cute, but I don't know when I'm gonna wear it, so I'm not gonna buy it. But last week, when Monday came around, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take myself out and I'm gonna treat myself to that dress. It was one of those purchases that was delayed gratification, and it felt so good because the dress fit so perfectly and it snatched me up and the color was cute, and I was like, I'm buying this. So I bought it. But yesterday was the first day that I actually wore it. So I'm wearing it and I'm walking around and I noticed some random dude holding his phone like right here. And as I walk by him, he's going like this. And I didn't notice until like I had already passed by. So I was like, and I yelled at him. I'm not going to say what I yelled because I'm probably going to get banned from live if I yell at him, if I say it on live. But I yelled and I just kept walking. I was like, whatever. 2 seconds later, I catch a guy sitting at a cafe outside, and his phone was on the table, and I'm walking by and I see him, and he picks his phone up and he goes like this. He literally holds it up in his face, and I'm walking past, and so I just gave him the finger, and he was like, and I yelled at him, don't take a picture of me. And he's like, I'm not. And I was like, good. And I kept walking. But then later on, I was like, wait, people take pictures of celebrities all the time. So low key, that's my sign that I'm famous. You know? So I had to accept that. I had to accept that even though I don't want random people taking pictures of me in public, it's probably going to happen a lot now because I'm a celebrity. So it's just a little intimidating because it's like, yo, I'm a random girl and you're a random freak guy. So why are you pulling out your phone and trying to take a picture of me? Like, actually stop being a weirdo. But that's actually what people do to celebrities all the time. I've never done that. I always ask celebrities if I could take a picture with them when I see them. And if they say no, then I don't. But unless I'm at a concert, then yeah, I'm going to take a picture. Oh, this hood. Can I put it on my head? No, it's too small. Okay, cool. So anyways, that's week 1 of The Artist's Way. Hopefully week 2, I'm going to say, I'm going to actually make a schedule thing, like a schedule live. I don't know how to do that. I'm not as good with technology as I used to be. I used to be really good at all this stuff, but now I'm just like, where's the button to click it? And that's how I know that like getting good at technology is truly something for the youth. Because my mom used to ask me to like remember her passwords and stuff all the time, and I'd be like, Mom, how am I supposed to remember your password? But I actually would remember her passwords. And now I'm like, wow, I can't believe I ever used to remember my mom's passwords because I can barely remember my own passwords. You know what I mean? Anyways, I had to move a couple weeks ago. So this is the new apartment. I'm not going to do an apartment tour because you know what? I be putting too much shit out there on the internet. And it's time for me to just keep some things to myself. Yes, it is time for me to do that. So this video is going to be up on my YouTube though. So when I blow up later, you guys can come and watch this. And hopefully I can do an apartment tour then. But yeah, I'm going live on TikTok in 30 minutes to read my book. I got a lot more viewers on TikTok than I do on YouTube. Hopefully that changes soon though. But yeah, thank you guys for popping in to watch. Yes, it's only a 22-minute video because I don't need to yap too much. But I'll see you next week. I did take myself on a date today, but my date today was like a simple grocery trip and I bought a lot of produce. And that's because I've been buying a lot of frozen veggies lately. And I was like, you know what? I deserve some fresh veggies and fruit. So I did that. I went to the market, took my time, shopped around, bought myself a little chip bag after. And I was like, that's my artist date. And it was perfect. I was happy with that. So yeah, see you next week.